Well, hello again. So today we are going to interview three industry members, and it's all about new construction because I'm sure things have changed since COVID started back in, was it March of 2020. So I'll get the gals to introduce themselves in just a second, but in the meantime, I am Sandra Pike from LePage Atlantic and the Pike Group. And Tamara, we're going to start with you first.
Hi, I'm Tamara Barker with Whitestone, and I'm also an agent at Sutton Group, so I can kind of see things from both perspectives for the builders.
Perfect. And Amanee, yourself?
I'm Amanee Mousavi with Cresco and also a realtor with LePage Atlantic.
And Krista?
I'm Krista Jensen, a realtor with Shaughnessy Homes, and I'm also with LePage Atlantic.
Good stuff. So Tamara, I just, you know what, I'm going to talk about the elephant in the room that would have been a few weeks ago. There was a local builder. Unfortunately, he was unable to complete a new construction home for a person here in Halifax. And, you know, have you seen much of that happen, or what are your thoughts that he can't build that home no longer? And, now the person wants to move in, and there's just so much uncertainty what's happening. What are your thoughts when that happened, if you heard about it in the news?
I didn't hear about that. I've been so busy, but a lot of the times now, the builders are building them and the costs have went up. So the properties were all sold last year, say. That property now is almost 100 grand more to build. And there's not 100 grand in profit. Anybody that thinks the builder's making 100 grand on a house, everybody'd be doing it if it was that easy, but it's not. So sometimes when you look at the margins and go, okay, so we're building this at a loss, why are we doing this? Then you have to get out of this. We've actually went back to clients and said, you know what? We got 3 more grand on the staircase. Here's the actual bill compared to what we were quoted. Here's the actual bill compared to what we're quoted. We can't pay $25,000 for you to move into your house. That was one example. It was $25,000 in difference between what we were eating and what we would have to pay on top of the purchase price for them to be in their home. And their builders just can't stay in business doing that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I think in that case, though, Sandra, the builder stopped communicating. I think they asked for more money, which the buyers did do, but then they just stopped communicating and stopped building. So I think that situation, obviously, Tamara with Whitestone, you're not going to not communicate with your buyers. You're going to say, hey, we have a problem. But I think in that case, they just stopped communicating, and then the buyers were just left with, they could get their deposit back, but they're never going to be able to buy anything for the same price that they originally were purchasing that property for.
And Amanee, what are you guys seeing in Bedford West with Cresco and the amount of homes that you've been building? Have you run into price increases along the way?
Oh my gosh, yes. Since March of 2020, we've been faced, well, all of us have been faced with such huge cost increases that we really had to shift how we price our homes internally. So what we've been doing is we added a schedule about a year and a half ago to our agreement of purchase and sale called a price volatility schedule. And basically this covers the builder and also protects the buyer so that if costs do increase during the course of construction, we have it so that Cresco would cover the first $5,000. And then we would go back to the buyer and, tell them, well, listen, this is how much of a cost increase we are facing. You're welcome to pay the extra difference, or we're happy to give you your deposit back. We did put that schedule in place by recommendation of Cresco's lawyer. However, what actually happened was costs increased on all the homes. And as a company, they decided to actually just absorb all the cost increases themselves, and we never actually had to implement that schedule, just because we do want to, keep customer experience as good as possible in this very crazy market. But it's been challenging because, as of, I believe it was, July of 2021, we were at a sales meeting and our CEO came in and said, yep, OSB is up 500%. We budgeted, say, $20,000 for framing costs. Our framing costs are now $50,000. Roof systems are up 25%. So it's definitely been challenging, and I really feel for the smaller builders, because obviously they may not be as prepared for such volatility.
Absolutely. Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, Krista, I do believe you represent Shaughnessy Homes. Have you run into that at all with the people you would have sold to over the year?
Well, we actually, the properties that we're doing next, we haven't listed them yet. Because I know this is one of your other questions, that what we're doing is basically getting them roof tight and having all the rough-ins completed before we're listing them, so we know what the price is. Because the last time we actually listed homes was almost we listed like 10 at once, was almost a year ago, and we were running into that somewhat, but we have never used an escalation clause. So we've really tried to price things accordingly when we listed it, so that we wouldn't run into that. Because also, you know, we're a smaller builder, that's going to be a more of a challenging customer experience as well. So we haven't been doing that.
So Tamara, as a local builder, apart from the prices, you know, changing every other day, what other challenges do you feel that you are going to be faced with in 2022 here in the market?
Well, besides the changes in prices, which is pretty much happening every day, like siding took 5 hits over the course of a year, and the late right about the lumber prices and things like that. We're pricing our customs with the volatility schedule in it, but we're not pricing any more of our houses. We're waiting till we're at the drywall stage before we list them, same as Krista, because that way we know our costs and we can give a closing date. Because lately closing dates have become a fairy tale, because the cider gets COVID, his whole crew is gone. We've lost all the ciders. You can't put insulation in a house till it's sided. So it slows everything down. And then our plumber got COVID, say the very next week. Nobody plumbing. Eddie Group closed for 2 weeks due to COVID. So we couldn't get any plumbing fixtures. So it just keeps going and going and going circles, and you can't make any momentum. You start getting momentum and it's like,
oh. Yeah, absolutely. So Krista, with with not a lot of land that's available right now, where is your builder running into those challenges, like to be able to even build a home, or are they just going to go do custom?
No, well, we have lots that are in the Clayton developments. So that's
Okay,
what we've been working on. Yeah, right now we're building in Brookline, and we're building right behind me. I live on Talus right now. On Break Trail, we're building next. And then we're going to be in the new section of Brookline as well. So that's where we're building next.
Oh, good stuff. And do you foresee any challenges, Amanee, you know, with Cresco coming up in 2022? Like, are you as busy as you were in 2021, for example?
Just as busy, but the main challenge is the lack of availability of land.
Yes.
I mean, even us who are park developer of West Bedford, we are running out of land. And for the needs of the buyers of Nova Scotia, there's just lack of availability, lack of delivery, which also became the main reason why all these closing dates were sort of clustered together. If anybody heard, in late 2021, there were like 40 closings all in the month of November and December. And that's just because of when the lots were available to start building on. So we don't want to talk past tense, because going forward, we have a completely different plan in place. Going forward for 2022, we are no longer having closing dates. We are having what is called completion dates. And that allows now us to have the home completed at least 4 weeks before the buyer expects to move in. That allows for any serious market interruptions, allows us to also do the walkthrough with the builder and the buyer, say 4 weeks ahead of schedule, giving us time to complete deficiencies, because we know, you know, how busy the market is. Once the home closes, we're on to another home. Sometimes it's hard to get all deficiencies done in a timely manner. But even last year, when we were faced with all of these closings that were happening at once, we tried to give as much notice as possible, at least 3 months notice to a buyer that, hey, we're not going to meet the closing date, whether it was because of material back orders or just lack of trades. And as long as we gave them, a good amount of notice, things went okay. But there were a few homes where, we had to let them know 1 week before closing that, hey, we're not going to meet it. And of course, we did what we could, compensating them wise, to make sure that the customer experience stays smooth. But it was a very challenging year last year, but we've learned from it. And going forward, we don't think we'll run into as many challenges, other than, of course, being out of reach of market pricing due to these cost increases. And we just need our government to approve these lands a little bit sooner. And we're very happy about the provincial announcement that was made 2 days ago. Out of the 9 areas, 6 of them Cresco are very much involved in, and hopefully that will fast track the development and reduce some of these challenges that we've been facing.
So Tamara, so you're buying supplies on a regular basis for the product, for the homes that you're building, and to Amanee's what she was talking about, there are going to be some homes that are affordable housing. So I know there's going to be rentals, there's going to be apartments, and there's going to be potentially homes for sale. Am I correct to say that, Amanee? Like there's going to be some homes for sale, but not a lot?
Yes.
So Tamara, how do you think, we're getting a little bit of feedback there, I'm not sure why. Tamara, how do you feel that, are we going to be able to offer affordable new construction homes?
Absolutely not. Like, even with all the money the government's pouring into that, I think it's wrong. It's not going to create any more housing. They're talking that an affordable house is 400,000. Like, that's not affordable. I think they need to back the taxes off. Like, we used to have a huge HST rebate back in the day, and that was how we were getting our first-time home buyers started, because they would get the HST rebate. And I just think this is, I don't know. I'm obviously there's a lot of things left open. There's a lot of fine print that we got to read, but I think they need to offer the first-time home buyers the rebate back. And I don't see why they can't, because they're making so much with the price increase, because our deed transfer tax is on the prices of the closing. So they're more than doubling their money in that section. Couldn't they give a little on this section to help the first-time home buyers get started?
Krista, I don't know if you heard, but there is a proposal. I think Laura Lee, oh my goodness, I forget her last name. She was talking about getting rid of the deed transfer tax for first-time home buyers. So do you think that'll make a difference to get people, first-time home buyers here into the market, especially new construction?
I think, I don't know about new construction. I think new construction is just generally expensive. It just is. But, you got to start somewhere. So like, even if you could get into something else and then create some equity in that property and then trade up eventually, right? But deed transfer tax, if it's 1.5% of the purchase price and the average house in HRM is say 475, it could save someone on closing costs, say like $7,000 or $8,000, which as a first timer, I think that is pretty significant. And it also, once you initiate a program, it does incentivize people, because it makes them think, okay, this could be a limited time only. Like, I need to take advantage of this while I have the chance. So I think that would be great. I saw someone saying, well, then where are they going to get the money for other things? But maybe now with the foreign buyer tax, they can collect that money and then have the first timers keep their money. I don't know. It's all getting shifted around.
Yeah.
Also, you say, Krista, that new construction is kind of expensive, but if you go with the square footage cost of, say, that one in Sackville that's old, it's actually more than new construction. Resale per square foot is more than new construction now, because we price market, or we price cost plus. They're going with market. If new construction went with the market price, our houses would be out of reach.
Wow.
But if you build them more, do you think, Tamara, if you build them, have them be more built before selling them, do you think you're going to get competing offers that's going to drive the prices up above what the list is? And then they make the price.
Yeah, because people can see it, touch it, and there's a wait list for they see the houses we got going up, and they're like, when are you going to list them? When it's drywalled. And every week they're calling, when it's drywalled.
Yeah. So Amanee, again, they're talking about, you know, the affordable housing and whatnot, and Cresco is playing a big role in, you know, some development that's going to be around. And they talked about having their own task force being, you know, being added to this. So are they going to get, do you think that the government will actually get any input from the NSAR? Because we all know that what just happened with the 6.5% D transfer tax and the 2% extra property tax, that the NSAR went in to try to give them, you know, some information, opinions. So are they going to ignore us again when this comes up, you think?
Good question. I definitely think that, you know, this special task force should definitely be communicating with NSAR much more than they have. You know, together we're facing many challenges, and the more we communicate, we can alleviate these concerns. And just so we're all aware, I don't believe Cresco will be building in any of these affordable communities, because the land that Cresco has and that is planning to be developed, the land prices are just so expensive that I think it would be nearly impossible to offer affordable housing. But as you guys are aware, Clayton Developments is, they have a huge housing project of close to 400 units in Dartmouth around Mount Hope there. So I was very happy to see that, because I think it's only in those more suburban areas, a little bit on the outskirts, are we ever going to be able to achieve new construction affordable housing. You know, just entering into the next phase of West Bedford, seeing what lot prices are, it is really hard to get anything nearly affordable. And, you know, that's definitely a problem that we're facing, because we've pushed so many buyers out of the market right now. Like a townhouse that we're most probably coming up at the end of April in West Bedford, we're going to be probably approaching $750 for a townhouse, probably ending the project just above $800,000 for a townhouse. Right now, our starter home, 2,200 square foot detached home, we're looking at just under $900,000 for a 2,200 square foot single car garage detached home. You know, so that's not just a combination of cost increase, although that's a major contribution, but it's the land prices. There's a lack of availability. There's a huge demand.
Yeah. So Tamara, you know, if the world were ever to settle down again, you know, the war in Ukraine, you know, that gets solved, and you know, the COVID crisis that we were in, we don't have to isolate anymore. And I don't know about CP Rail, if they're back. I haven't heard anything about that yet, but do you think prices will come down at all? Or is it just because now, well, we know that you're used to paying this for trusses, so we're just going to continue with that price? Do you think it'll go down at all?
I think the wood will fluctuate. The siding is all about, it's an oil product.
Yeah.
So I think some of them are never coming down. Like cement, it's there. Trades now are used to asking more and getting more, because we're all fighting for the same trades. So I think once they get used to it, they're going to know their value. And you know what? Between you and I putting on the builder hat now and taking off the real estate hat, they were underpaid for so long.
Yeah.
So I think I'm in favor of the trades getting paid more to do what they do.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Well, ladies, it is a wrap for today. And thank you so much for coming on. Like, we always certainly learn, you know, just about things, what's happening in the market. And yeah, are there any other special projects that are coming up, or anything we should know about, ladies, apart from the 9 projects that were just proposed?
That's it. Land is scarce.
Well,
I
thank you
know
very
that we're
much.
building in. I think there's going to be
All right,
lots of development outside of the city, though, right? Like the lunch and learn that we went to yesterday. One of the speakers is to do with condos, and Bearland condominiumizing things is a way to make things more affordable. And a lot of the projects that he's dealing with are all outside of the city. And
oh,
so
it's happening. Just like, what was that? The Pennycook group, right? When that, remember that Tamara back in, oh, good, God love him, Roger Burns was around then, in 2012, 2013. And it just took a lot. Yeah, it
Yeah.
took a long time to start to get on the go, but I mean, now it's a great little community, right? Out in Seven Lakes. Yeah. Well, all right, ladies, thank you for joining me.
Okay.
Thank you, Sandra.